Very top. How does it make you feel that the man that you accused of sexually assaulting you, many other women as well, could possibly become the most powerful man in this country?
It's hard to describe, but it's surreal, and it's very uncomfortable. He was vice president at one time, and I went through a hard time during that. I had thought, back when he was vice president, my daughter was quite young, and I was afraid to speak out at that time. But emotionally, it was hard. But I kept, I only told a few close friends. I didn't come forward to the press at that time. But it was hard then, and it's hard now, even more so. And, I had hoped back then that he had changed. And then in 2019, when Lucy Flores and the other 6 women came forward, it was clear that he had continued the behavior I experienced in 1993 and had not changed.
After there was this attempt to silence you, at this point, Kamala Harris agreed to run with him and be the vice presidential pick. But previous to that, she had said she believed you.
Yeah, she said she believed the women that came forward. I don't know if she changed her mind or simply, kind of in that swept up in that will to power. But we'll see what happens once she's in a position of power, if she addresses him and, calls him out for what happened.
What about the major show that he has had of appointing all of these women in high profile spots within his administration? Why do you think he's doing that?
Well, I think what the hypocrisy that I've noticed all along throughout the election is the Democratic Party using the Me Too as a shield and basically professing that they're champions of women's rights, when that's not the truth. Actually, they've been complicit with predatory behavior and misogyny, and that's been clear through the Epstein case, through my case, through others, through going back to Harvey Weinstein, when Hillary Clinton tried to cover it up and tried to pull the plug on the NBC special about Rose McGowan when she came forward. So it's gone back, throughout the decades. The Democratic National Committee, basically, in my opinion, is being complicit with empowering sexual predators.
Yeah, I read your interview with Rose McGowan. In it, you talked about what it felt like to be marginalized, called a Russian agent. I had forgotten about that over and over again. And this Democratic cult and the Me Too movement only working for some women.
Well, it's a pretty fiction, isn't it, to pretend like you're championing a cause when in actuality behind the scenes that you're, perpetuating the rape culture, basically, and silencing women and using resources to do it. When I came forward in 1993, I tried to file a sexual harassment claim. I didn't file the sexual assault claim at that time. I was too afraid. And even the sexual harassment claim ended up with me losing my job and losing my career and being basically marginalized. So it's hard to speak out, but I would encourage people to do so and survivors to speak out. And again, it's important that we expect from our public officials that their behavior in public reflects their behavior in private, and that they're just not giving rhetoric to supporting certain issues.
Yeah. In terms of the evidence that you had, speak to that. What evidence did you have that you didn't get to, present to the public?
Well, I think most interestingly was the sexual harassment form that was, filed, that's now sealed in the University of Delaware. And I've tried many times to get my personal record, and I cannot. I don't know if they still kept that paper that I filled out, but when I contacted the Senate, that's where it would have gone back to the Senate office. So Ted Kaufman, the chief of staff, would have been responsible for archiving it. They've not come up with answers. So there's that physical evidence. There's people that corroborated my story. And I think there's other people that may want to come forward, but again, it's not, I think my story, the way I was kind of ripped apart publicly, it's had a chilling effect on people feeling safe to come forward and support.
All right. Well, Tara, thank you very much. And people can read more about your allegations. They're just allegations, actually, at this point in your book. And it's called Left Out When the Truth Doesn't Fit In. And we do see this happen time and time again, unfortunately, with women on one side of the aisle versus the other. Thank you so much for joining us, Tara. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time. Take care.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.